Our next guest can be seen all over ESPN, literally all over. Like, if I had to name all the different shows and platforms he's on, I would just not even have time to interview our next guest 24/7 during the NFL season. And then, like, college and, like, gosh knows what else. He's a quarterback, former quarterback who spent time with the Lions, the Texans, the Colts, and Buccaneers. A perfect guest for today. Even though I wanted it to be celebratory, I wanted Mother Nature to do its thing so we could get the best out of Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers. And then Dan Orlovsky, here we are, weeping on a Tuesday morning.
Yeah, I wish I was coming on and, like, having a really fun conversation. I'm not even a Jets fan, and I'm super sad. I've sent "I'm sad" in a text. I feel like I said that to you.
Yeah.
Probably like 10 times today. So it's a brutally tough day for people who like football. So it sucks.
That's what I said. Like, the news broke as I got on the air, and I just go, this sucks. What else can you say? 4 plays into his Jets chapter, Zach Wilson takes over. All of this happens. When you saw it go down, what were you thinking?
Well, when I saw him go to the ground, I'm like, that's weird. I just thought maybe he took a shot to, you know where type of thing, and just needed to go down. And then when I saw some tweets getting out, I'm like, oh my gosh, people are just flying things off the hip and saying stuff. And then when he didn't go back in the game for the next series, that got my attention, because Aaron's pretty tough and obviously knows the moment and knows what the day is representative of. And then when the X-ray came back negative and still didn't go in the game, I went to my wife and said, it can't be good. If the X-ray is negative and he's not in the game on this day, it can't be good. So I just started firing off text messages to people I knew. And then obviously the game's going on. And Kay, like, I guess maybe it's selfish of me to think this way, but my main thought was, holy smokes, they would have won it. Like, that was my main takeaway, is not the game. The whole thing. Like, I honestly felt really convicted about them winning or having a real chance to win the Super Bowl, and watching how good that defense was, and watching how well they ran the football versus a good defense, and watching Garrett, I sit there, I go, my goodness, it wasn't all hype. It wasn't all fluff. They would have, I feel really good about it. And it's just, they would have won it. And it's such a bummer to know that this year it's not going to be a story.
And when we say that, what are we saying about this Jets team? Are they in contention for a playoff spot? Obviously, they can go trade for somebody, maybe a Cousins that's being floated off. Like, are they not even in it anymore? Are you done with the Jets?
Yeah, I've had this fight with my friends so much today, because so many of my friends are Jets fans. So is the Jets season over? No, of course not. Anytime you do what you did last night, they played really good football. They ran for 172 yards last night. That was without Aaron. Season over? Of course not. Realistic chances to win the Super Bowl, which is what, again, they were at kickoff last night. None of us can say that. Even people who want to make hot takes, you can't say that they can still win the Super Bowl confidently. So the whole conversation of, like, hey, go get yourself Kirk Cousins or Nick Foles, or for what? To go get the 6 or 7 seed in the playoffs? You're not going to win 4 games in the AFC playoffs and go through Patrick and Joe Burrow and Josh Allen and Justin Herbert and Lamar Jackson or whoever else is in there. You're not going to go. So my buddy responds back to me. He's like, well, it's the Jets. The playoffs matter. As of right now, I understand that. I just don't think going to get one of those players and saying he's going to be the person is the answer. I think the best thing for the Jets is to go, all right, Zach, it's time. And see if he becomes the player you drafted him to become.
It's crazy to think that this $30 million that Rodgers gave back is potentially going to pay for potentially another guy to come in, like a Jameis Winston type, if they'd go that route and try to bandage something together. You're saying stick with Zach Wilson. I know he didn't see much. I know he was just thrown in off the bench. You've been in that scenario before. Did you see anything? And they've spent very little time together, 5 months, but not really. They had OTAs. They had some training camp. Osmosis, Rodgers in his ear, Rodgers around him. Like, did you see anything that was improved in Zach Wilson, or any reason to think he could do something with this team?
Improved, yes. So I'd say two things that I saw that were improved. One, in the midst of the runaround playmaking, I'm going to go kind of be athletic. There wasn't any stupid decision. That is an improvement because that was part of his game in the past. No reckless decision. I think the second thing, and you saw it with the two big in routes, one to Lazard for 22 yards and then one to Garrett on the rip, was the way he married the feet and the rhythm of the drop and the hitch to when the ball has to come out. That was better. That was a big kind of complaint of mine when it came to Zach, was there was very little rhythm in his feet. His footwork was all over the place. So there was improvements in that. I think if you're the Jets, you're sitting there and you're having a really honest conversation about the interception, because what are we looking at? I need to know why you threw that ball. What did you see? Is that not a good play for you? Like, can you not run that play, under center, straight drop back? Do you need it to be play action? Does it have to be in the gun? So that's probably the biggest question you're asking this morning if you're them, is because if you get rid of those, and I know that's a giant if, there was positive from his play.
He does look a lot more poised. Like, in your opinion, how much of it is confidence? Because I feel like that's what was lacking when I watched him and what I can remember from last year. Like, there were these moments that sort of snowballed on him, and he wasn't perfect last night, but I did see more confidence out of him, even in his post-game presser when it comes to poise.
Yeah, conviction. That definitely was a part of it. I always say, like, you can tell how confident or convicted a quarterback is by just watching if he's a righty, his right leg go in the ground. If their right leg is in the ground and it looks like almost a pitcher does when they get to the top of their motion and their left leg lifts up and they're about to deliver the ball to home plate, like, you could just watch how that right leg gets firmly planted into the ground and tries to press off or generate power off. And there was a lot more of that, because if you watch some guys, it doesn't look like they're real confident in the things that they're seeing and or where they're throwing with that leg. So that was definitely, it's hard. It's a really difficult position to play on a consistent basis when the expectation and pressure is so high. I was asked today, like, oh, Dan, you had to go in and what's it like? Yeah. I said, I've never had to go in and play for a team that had this much talent. I never played for a team that had this much expectations. And I think the time around Aaron will be well suited for him. But I think if you're the Jets, you sit there and go, if you can get what Zach Wilson gave you last night, if you can get that more often than not, they have a chance to win every game that they're going to play in.
Yeah, I think they're going to be a tough out. That's sort of what I got from last night. And, when he didn't let it snowball. He did pick himself up when he made a mistake and wasn't perfect, and that's kind of what you want to see from a guy like Zach Wilson. When it comes to Aaron, 39, he'll be 40, Achilles, all of that. Like, is there a thought in your head when you saw this that you thought that's a wrap? Or do you think, like, he'll come back and it'll be an even better story?
I would be shocked if Aaron's done. I'd be floored. He's still under contract for next year, to my knowledge. The pay cut, the roster is going to be really good. One of the greatest players at that position ever. I can't imagine goes out like that. I think he said it himself that he doesn't plan for this to be a one-year thing. And so for him to kind of, now it's going to be easy and really commit to the grind of that rehab, I think so. I think he felt how special kind of what was going on there was going to be. I would be shocked if he hung it up. Hopefully he can see how still special the opportunity is, but I'm not banking against Aaron getting back. I'm not banking. I say this all the time, Kay. Like, we undervalue greatness so much, and we've seen it so often that we doubt greatness. We doubt it, and when those great players fall off just a little bit, we don't think they can ever get back to being great again. We've seen it with Tom Brady. We've seen it with Tiger Woods. We've seen it with Steph Curry. We've seen it with Kevin Durant. Aaron is in that class for me when it comes to greatness. And I just don't think we should just doubt his will, his desire, his character, his competitiveness.
It's beautifully said. Dan, you're so great. I could listen to you all day. And then you're talking about the opportunity that Rodgers has. But now I'm listening and thinking about the opportunity this AFC has. And nobody, as far as week one, wants to just grab the torch. Like, we all watched the Chiefs lose to the Lions. Like, Buffalo, you couldn't get away, and we'll talk about that right now. The Chargers, the Bengals, like, y'all couldn't take a step up. Everyone's over. And what does it mean if you zoom out and look at the AFC with this news about the Jets? Because I want to say, well, Buffalo, great for you, but after last night's performance, the 4 turnovers, I don't know. Can you tell me, like, what did this defense have for him? What happened here?
Yeah, the Jets gave Josh Fitz. The last thing I'll say about it in relation to the Jets and Zach is this, Kate. What a wildly incredible, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for Zach. Usually these young quarterbacks that get drafted that fail, the next opportunity they get is with a way lesser team. Team. Now Zach gets to go in and kind of like, hey, dude, this is an incredible opportunity for you to just plant exactly where you were expected to plant. I think the AFC, again, loaded. Everyone always asks, like, who do you think wins the AFC? I said, pick the top 10 teams, top 12 teams, whoever stays the healthiest. I think that's probably going to be the team to do it. Buffalo, I'll say 2 things about. We can't judge Buffalo until Von Miller comes back. Okay? It would be unfair for us to do it with any of those teams. I still think Buffalo is a top 4 we can beat Kansas City team. I'll touch on the Josh Allen part of this, because what the Jets defense does is never give Josh anything easy. And so Josh feels like when you watch Josh last night, it was like watching an adrenaline junkie. You can't help yourself. Like, you just can't help yourself. And it's almost like if they don't give you anything easy, the competitor in Josh just constantly rises to the forefront, and it hurts him. And he's like, well, okay, you're not going to make this easy on me. Watch how freaking good I am. I love Josh. I do. There's no bigger fan of Josh's than I. I've spent time with them. I got to hang out with them for a couple times this summer. I love Josh. I'm a huge fan of the person as well. Last night is one of those games where you sit there and you watch it with them. If I was his coach, and I would look him dead in the eye and go, bud, we got to grow up. Like, we got to grow up, man. We can't have this conversation all the time about when Aaron Rodgers goes down, there's one chance, one way they lose that football game. And for $250 million, it can't be because of you, dude. And I understand that you think you're great, you are, and you're competitive, you are. I love all that. It's why you're great. We got to grow up. We got to handle this situation better. We got to handle the moments and handle. Okay, I have in my notebook, rewatching the game last night, I have 1, 2, 3. I have 7 clips where I just describe him as completely out of control. Can't have that.
Out of control.
And out of control. Just, you're completely out of control in the game. Your eyes are all over the place. Your feet are all over the place. You're running before you have to. You're forcing the football down the field into double coverage again. So I think that is going to have to be and this isn't being a jerk. He's a grown adult. He makes a ton of money. He's a great player. We got to grow up.
And we have less than a minute left in our show, but I'm just going to let you wrap it up with how does he grow up? Is it just a tough conversation? Because it looks like in the presser he knew.
Yeah, you're not going to bench him, right? You can't do that. You're not going to take that away from him. Gary Kubiak said this to me in like my 5th or 6th year, and it's changed the way I ever looked at the quarterback position. Dude, you don't hold your job in your hands. You hold all of our jobs in your hand. Every single person that is attached to this organization, you hold their jobs and their future in your hands. You got to take that personal in a very, very unique way. And until Josh gets to that point consistently, I guess the conversation or the worry, is he going to do it again, lingers.
It's really, really well said. I just want to know what else is in that notebook. We don't have time today. We got to get off the air. You are the best in the business. I'm so grateful to you for hopping on in the midst of all. We got to publish that notebook. We'll talk to you later, Dan. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Daniel Jones on the show later this week. We'll be back. Hey, thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest Up and Adams content right on YouTube.